My name is Cynthia Young. I am 72 years old now, and I live in Hurricane, Utah. And a little over 7 years ago, I lost most of my vision in about a 30 to 45-day period. I think voting is very, very important. I know some people think that, oh, my vote doesn't count. I'm just one, but it does. It really does. And even if it's just for the fact that you know you did the right thing of what you believe in, and because I know that we all don't agree, and that's okay. So I have had good and bad experiences going voting, and I want to vote in person because I feel that it's more secure. So I have gone in to vote, and I'm standing there, and they said, "Well, you need to, sign this, do this." And I thought, "Well, yeah, I can do that." And then they said, "You got to go back over there to go get your ballot." I said, "What does back over there mean?" And they go, "Oh, well, in front of you, across the room over there, and to go get your ballot." I said, "Okay." So I went to the right and went towards where I thought they told me to go. And all of a sudden there's a lady almost right at my face. And she says, "Here." It says, and I said, "Who are you?" And she told me her name. And I said, "Well, I'm supposed to go over across the room and go get my ballot." She goes, "Well, I'm the one that's going to give you your ballot." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then she went to grab me, and I said, "Excuse me, don't do that." I said, "I can take your elbow if you'd like, you know, because I know, they're wanting to be helpful. Sometimes they're overly helpful. And that's just kind of normal, I guess, sometimes with people. But so we get over to the across the room against the wall, and I sit down. I have brought my Victor Stream, which is a small recording device that I use to take notes and stuff on. So I'd put on there who I wanted to vote for. And I had an earpiece to put it in my ear, and then they gave me the headset, and I put their headset on, and I said, "Okay, I want the screen blackened." She says, "I don't know how to do that." And I guess the guy who signed me in could hear kind of what was going on, even though he was across the room. He says, and he comes over and does it, which is good because, that's how you learn. And so she blackened it out. But because we don't vote, but maybe 2 or 3 times a year, or maybe I always have a challenge remembering how to use that pad, that's at the bottom that you move the buttons around and stuff. So I always get them to tell me, okay, what is the top one for, the right one, left, bottom, because that helps you to move to each selection. And then you hit select, or you can go back or review and all that kind of stuff. And so I got through there. Oh, and then she's standing there, and I said, "You don't have to hover over me." She goes, "Oh, oh, oh," because so anyway, I got finished and collecting my things, and all this, and that evidently they've been watching me from somewhere because, "Well, I can help you with your ballot." I said, "I can get my ballot out, thank you." And so I get it out, and I put their headpiece down, and I go, and I said, "So where's your voting machine?" "Well, here, I'll help you." And I said, "I'll take your elbow." So we get over there, and they said, "Well, I can put it in for you." I said, "Oh, I can do it myself." So I put it in, and they said, "You want a voting sticker?" And that time I did. Most of the time I don't. But so anyway, that was kind of that experience. And then I've had others that know what they're doing and get you situated. And they say, "If you need any help, you just let me know." And you know they're always kind, but some of them are, like I said, overly kind. And now they kind of know me a little bit here in Hurricane. So but it's just kind of interesting to see how it goes. But I know a year ago when we voted for the president, it was kind of funny because at the community center, there were people wrapped all the way around the hall and stuff to get in. And this one guy says, he saw me with my mailed ballot in my hand. He goes, "You can just turn that in at the front." I said, "Oh, no, I'm voting in person. I don't trust him." He goes, "I don't either." So that's kind of fun. And again, I just think it's an important thing for us to do because, yes, my husband could do it for me, but I want to do it myself. You know, life goes on with or without you, and I want to be a part of it. And I just think it's an important thing to do. Uh, right now we've got another kind of heated debate stuff going on in our city, and I just, if you don't vote, I don't think you have the right to complain because you didn't have any skin in the game. And, I just think it's important.
Do you have questions or concerns about voting? You can contact us at the Disability Law Center. Call 800-662-9080 or fill out a Get Answers form on our website, disabilitylawcenter.org.